One minute, Desire. Hello everyone, we are continuing with Mr. Desire Mussa. I want to explain to Mr. Mussa's series. Firstly, Desire C. Mussa is a multi-talented professional with expertise in sustainable energy engineering. He is a researcher, renewable energy specialist, and writer. Certified renewable energy professional by Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority, engineer, research assistant, search water implementation research project by Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences, MUAS, and Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. Graduate Renewable Energy Technologies, Mizuzu University Energy System Department. Monitoring and Evaluation Coordinator, Young African Leaders Initiative, Regional Leadership Center, Southern Africa, Malawi chapters. At the same time, they have many IEEE missions. For example, IEEE Power and Energy Society, IEEE Young Professionals, IEEE Smart Village, IEEE Young Professionals, subcommittee members on IEEE PES Young Professional Industry Out Research and Entrepreneurships, Chapter Representative, IEEE Young Professional Region 8, Secretary, IEEE Smart Village Education Community, member of IEEE Smart Village Project Development Committee. At the same time, he graduated from IEEE WeOld program, Southern Africa Representative, IEEE PES Day 2023, chair and co-founder of IEEE Smart Village, Malawi University of Business and Applied Science student branch in Malawi. Okay, Mr. Moss, Desire, we are waiting your great presentation. Stage is yours.
Thank you. Can you share the slide? Thank you. Yeah, so today we will be talking much about the crafting skills for young professionals, especially towards the universal access to sustainable energy. So let me take you back to the theme of this year's summit. So our theme for this year, it's accelerating climate solutions, innovation for a sustainable future. So by the end of this webinar, we need to understand how to develop person and the professional skills, and also be able to apply those skills in energy projects and any other project related to sustainable development goals. So why are we talking about accelerating climate solutions? We know that we are living in a century that is very impacted by climate change. So time has changed and the climatic conditions are no longer predictable like previous eras. Yeah, so even rainy seasons are no longer reliable. So youth have got a great role to play in addressing these issues. Yeah, so to do that, it requires skills to innovate the solutions that can help to mitigate the impacts of climate change as well as adapt to the climate change, because climate change is real. Yeah, so young professionals need to be innovative by developing climate solutions to address challenges in energy, agriculture, health, environment, and other sectors. Yes, so that's why we in this webinar we will talk much on crafting skills for a young professional, because skills development for youth is very essential in our times. Yeah, so let's talk about innovation for sustainability. So when we talk about the sustainability, it's the environment, social, as well as economic. So sustainability, for a solution to be sustainable, it needs to be environmental viable as well as economically viable. So that's why that's why when we are designing the solution, we need to make sure that our solutions are bearable. So bearable environmental and social bearable environmental solutions that address the needs of society. And for environment and economic, we need to make sure that our solutions they are economically viable, and they also needs to address the issues in the society. So yes, we will focus much on crafting skills for young professionals towards universal access to sustainable energy. Yes, so as Anton said, skills can be taught because it's a character that somebody can have or cannot have, but it can be taught. Yeah, so you may not have the skills, but if you take time to learn, you can know how to do it. Yeah, so why youth need to develop sustainable multidisciplinary skills? So today we need to develop, youth need to develop these skills because we are living in complex world where there are a lot of challenges that requires multidisciplinary approach, such as we talk climate change, public health crisis, and other challenges. So the other reason why youth need to develop sustainable multidisciplinary skills is to develop their personal skills. So it's for personal growth and also professional development as well. So many careers nowadays require multiple skills. You may be an engineer, you may be a researcher, you may be any type of profession that, but in the end, you be required to have multiple skills such as leadership skills and the other interpersonal skills that you may not get maybe during your studies. Yeah, so that's why nowadays we need to make sure that we focus much on skills development. So it is also important to develop sustainable multidisciplinary skills because it helps in innovation and creativity. Because to do this, it requires a combination of several skills. Just to give an example, if I would like to come up with an innovation, energy innovation to address climate change or to address maybe health issues, I need to understand the how it works with the health sector, so that the energy innovation that I'm coming up with should be it should address the real problem. So that's why innovation and creativity requires a combination of skills. Yeah, so essential skills to learn. This there are several skills that youth of today need to learn. There are a lot of them, but I've just selected these four because these are very crucial and very important when it comes to personal and professional development in any project. Yeah, so let's start with leadership. So youth needs to embrace continuous learning by attending personal, professional development workshops, mentorship programs, such as this one. And also, for example, leader must stay updated on current trends. We are living in a complex world, as I've already explained earlier on. So every problem requires different thinking. The way we might be think maybe 10 years ago, it might not be the same if we want to do this. If we want to do the same, if we want to solve the problem right now, we need to be updated. So to do that, it is very important to embrace the continuous learning. And the other essential skill under leadership that we must consider is that community involvement through civic and volunteering work engagements. Of course, majority of youth they are reacting on this because nowadays majority of youth think that we should get maybe man out of every work they will do. But to develop skills, you can service to the community. So service community, you can volunteer in many organizations that you are interested in. Through that, you'll be developing your experience, as well as you'll be making networks, as well as you'll also be able to develop your career. And the other point is set clear vision and goals and lead by example. So as a leader, it is important to set a clear vision and goals, and also lead by what you say. And lastly, be self-confident and the critical thinker, and also team player. So that's why we are saying that leadership is one of the essential skills to learn when it comes to sustainable development, achieving sustainable development goals. Yeah. So let's talk about communication. So communication is another skill that must be learned by almost every youth. So one of the things that you need to consider is to learn how to speak on public. So that's public skills. Also be able to listen. So you listen. If you don't understand, you give feedback. Or if you were the one speaking, then you can ask for the feedback, so that by the end of the day you get the message. And the other point to consider is storytelling. So storytelling is so about telling what you do. You want to introduce yourself. So that's part of communication. Because in every career, you need to introduce yourself. What you do, who are you, what's your expertise, or what's your area of interest. So that's why communication is very important. Also understand nowadays we are in a digital world, so also consider to understand the digital communication etiquettes. And also wherever you don't understand, ask. Don't feel shy to ask. Yeah. So the other point to consider under essential skills that must be learned by young professionals is networking, and that's interpersonal skills. So networking, collaborations, and relationship building. This is very important because in every career development, you need to network with your with experts in your field. Yeah. So to do that, if you network, it will be easier to implement the solution that you have, or to speak out, and also to work and collaborate together. And the other point that need to be considered is gratitude. Whenever somebody, then maybe you have a certain problem, you have asked maybe an expert to help you or to assist you in something, you need to acknowledge that person. So by that, it will be it's the quickest way for you to get to learn, and that person feel good that what I've taught this person, I think it's positive now. So the other point is seeking guidance and mentorships oriented from professionals in your field. Yeah. So this is common nowadays. We are living in technological era whereby there are a lot of opportunities. So it's up to you to define the area of your interest. So maybe if you want to be installing maybe energy systems, or maybe you want to do certain project, okay, but you don't have any clue, so you can easily seek guidance if you have the interpersonal skill, and also you can easily seek for mentorship opportunities. So nowadays you can access mentorship opportunities via internet, social media. So utilize those for your career development in sustainable energy development, and in sustainable energy development, and any other sustainable energy goals. So the goal-oriented projects, and that one is a teamwork. So that's under interpersonal skills. Yeah. So the attention management. This is very critical in a way that whenever you are doing any project, or whenever you are doing any task, or whenever you are doing any activity, when there is no attention to it, you may end up you may end up doing the project, or you may end up doing that project for a long time, or maybe the project can fail. Yeah, so time management, it's one of the critical point that must be considered when it comes to attention management. So allocate time for different tasks by working on schedules, and also identify activities that needs to be prioritized. So on deadlines, which we can maybe focus on those that are very important, and also they have deadlines that are near. So work on those, so that you can manage it, your project on time, and also minimize distractions. So there are several ways of distractions. For example, at the moment, I'm presenting, but I could have presented anywhere else, maybe outside or in the city, but I've selected a place where there is limited distractions. So that can be also applied in a work. When you are doing a work that requires attention, make sure that you minimize any distraction. And also manage stress. Stress, I think this is stress management. It's an issue especially for young people. So if you manage your stress, you can help you to achieve your goals. So seek support and help when needed. Yeah. So if you don't know if you need support or anything, ask for it. If the person that you have asked for that help, or maybe doesn't want to help you, go to another person who will be able to assist you. So always seek support when you need it. Yeah, so let's go to the baseline to craft your skills. We have discussed the skills that must be learned almost by every young professional or youth when it comes to personal and career development. So let's look at the baseline to how you can craft your skills in sustainable energy projects or any sustainable development-oriented project. So you need to set goals. So your goals should be SMART, that's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and also time-bound. And develop courage to pursue your goal. If you don't have courage, despite that we have set goals, it will be very difficult for you to achieve those goals. And mind you, setting goals, it requires action. So you can set goals, but if you don't take any action, it means that nothing will happen. So you set goals, work on those goals based on the SMART principles. Yeah. So be confident, because if you believe in yourself that you can do anything, you can do it. And also, if you don't know how to do it, you can still do it by learning how to do it. So you can seek ways your own how you can do it. First of all, if you know how to do it, you do it. If you don't know how to do it, you can still do it perfectly by learning how to do it. Yeah. So, and also into the mentorship. So mentorship is very important when it comes to professional development. So the fastest way to learn things of your interest beyond classroom is if you embrace mentorship as your best friend. Yeah. So another baseline to craft your skills is networking with the professionals that are even better than you. So don't wait to be a graduate for you to network with the graduates. And also don't wait to be a doctor for you to network with the doctors. And also don't wait to be an entrepreneur for you to network with the entrepreneur. Yeah. So have a courage to build relationship with the seniors. Through that, you can learn a lot of skills within a short period of time, because we need to understand that youth. Okay, youth. The fact is that every youth, based on time, it means he or she has stayed on this planet for a little while than the senior professionals. So it's like the seniors, they have a space match, so we can learn from them, and use those lessons to address the issues of today and also improve the future. Yeah. So the other best time to craft your skills is get started where you are with the data you have. So don't wait to don't if you have the idea or the idea to do with the sustainable development or any sustainable oriented project, don't wait until you have everything. So get started where you are with the little you have. For example, you can start with the little knowledge that you have. So your knowledge is it's enough to get started. The rest you can find you on the way if you keep on pursuing your goal. So you can use your mobile, for example, you can use your mobile phone to access skill development content on internet, attend online mentorship programs of your interest, and connect with professionals, just as we are doing at the moment. Yeah. So another point for best line to craft your skills is embrace relationship in your personal and professional development, and also motivate yourself before external motivation. So don't wait to be motivated for you to get started. Motivate yourself. Then if you get motivation from outside, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine also, because your motivation is that which is very important for you. So this will keep you going even when no one is encouraging you to fight you for your dreams. Yeah. So another best line to craft your skills is appreciation is very important in your skills development journey. I've spoke on this. So say you should learn to thank anyone that shows you the direction and helps you on how to make it in the middle of nowhere. And also ask when you don't understand, and learn to serve for humanity without expecting monetary return. So here we're talking about volunteering. So volunteering is a rocket that can offer you many skills within a short period of time. Volunteering experience can get you a job, scholarships, innovative ideas, and a lot of opportunities that you cannot imagine, or that you cannot get if you were just focus on your work. So learn to save for humanity. Yeah. So I'll share my my journey on how I crafted my skills through IEEE. Yeah. So IEEE it's a technology. Its goal is advancing technology for humanity. So there are several initiatives under IEEE, that's Institute for Electrical and Electronics Engineers. Yeah. So there are energy-oriented initiatives. There are other technology-oriented initiatives, but for today, I'll just focus on the energy-oriented initiatives that I have been engaged for the past 2 years since my graduation. So yeah, there is IEEE Young Professionals Power and Energy Society, the one that has organized this webinar. And also there is the Power and Energy Society and the IEEE Smart Village, which focuses much on empowering off-grid communities. Yeah. So every student's dream is to get a job, internship, and develop their career, or to get opportunities as soon as they graduate. However, you can agree with me that in this century, this is not the case. Yeah. So it requires you to develop skills, work on your goals. Yeah. And also, despite that, we are promoting young people to be engaged in sustainable development activities. There are barriers that we meet, that youth meet. But those barriers should not stop you, because those barriers can be removed. So barrier removal for youth engagement in sustainable development projects is necessary in both public and private institutions. And also skills development for young professionals should be number one priority. So don't wait for opportunities. You need to create them. How can you create the opportunities? You see, maybe it's right, there's a need. Maybe there is no order. Okay, there's no order. You don't need to you need to think around those the challenge. How can you solve the solution? How can you solve the problem with the knowledge that you have? Yeah. So you can bring in, for example, we are talking about the sustainable energy. Yeah, let's maybe say I think we can bring solar to pump water to supply it to the community. So, or you see a problem, so don't wait for opportunities to show up. create them. Yeah. Yes. So I graduated in 2019. So soon after graduating, that was I was 23 by then. I applied for a job in my country, and fortunately, I was called for the interview. Unfortunately, I was told that I was young based on because they were looking for somebody ranges to 30 or above. So that's when I realized that there are barriers for youth to engage in sustainable development. However, those barriers can be removed. So what I did is I just promised myself that I will not wait to get order for me to get the opportunities. So I decided to create my own energy company. That's what I did. But at that time I didn't understand how it works, how you do it, it's like I was waiting for something that I don't have, because the knowledge that I had at that time, it's all about designing energy systems, installing the energy systems, management of those energy systems, nothing to do with the entrepreneurship. So I had to engage those people who could help me on that. However, there was no, there was not, because I was just a fresh graduate. So I decided to, there was a conference, the first conference that I attended on energy sector. So there was a National Energy Stakeholders Conference, which was held in Lilongwe, a capital city in Malawi. So I went there. However, unfortunately, I was told that I could not attend because the conference was aimed for companies or the managers from different companies who are doing in energy sector. However, since I was motivated, I was reluctant I met the boss of that conference. So I explained to her the reason that I was there. I knew that the conference was made for companies who are doing in the energy sector, not the fresh graduates. But I said that my goal is to learn what is being done on this, or where I can maybe help. So I was allowed to attend the conference. Yeah. So after attending the conference, soon after the conference, I met Mr. Gadama. That's the picture, Mr. Gadama, who is the director of Electrical Contractors Association of Malawi. So I approached him to ask on how somebody can venture into energy-related entrepreneurial activity or development school. So he gave me an appointment to meet him so that he could explain. So what he said, nowadays we are living in his time. The appointers were so many because the issues were, but at the moment there is a high unemployment rate among the youth. To graduate from university doesn't guarantee you, so it requires you to think innovative and also critical. So he said to me that youth need to achieve their goals piece by piece. So you need to understand that you are youth, both by age, yeah. So both by age and also by experience. So to do that, you need to don't wait to get the full age, I can say so, or to get the full experience for you to start. So he said, start one by one. So don't wait to have all resources for you to get started. Yeah. So yes, after this conference, I attended another conference, which was the second one. Now, and let me take you back. You can see I was talking about networking, collaboration, mentorship, ask for guidance. So you can do that by attending conference. So you can attend the conference online, you can attend the conference physically. Through that, you can develop your skills. Yeah. So the secondary conference that I attended was the one. It wasn't a conference, but it was a general meeting at the Bingu International Convention Center in Malawi, which was organized by IEEE Smart Village and IEEE Power and Energy Society through Dr. Podimo. So at the conference, I was the only fresh graduate as well. And by that time, I was, I think, a 7-year-old graduate. Yeah, so the rest were senior professionals. So I introduced myself, what I did at the university, and what I want to do. Yeah, so I was inspired by the members present that I was at the right location, and they didn't receive any resistance. Instead, they say that this is what youth of today need to think. So after the conference, I connect with the engineer Zimba, this one who is the operation engineer at the SAP, that's the Southern Africa Power Pool in Zimbabwe. So he went, he came to Malawi to attend the conference. So I connected with him. He introduced me to what IEEE Smart Village does, and also other IEEE-oriented energy initiatives. So that's how I became to know and also join IEEE. So I started joining with IEEE Smart Village. Yeah. So from 2020 to present, I have been engaged in IEEE Smart Village, which focuses much on energy, education, and also enterprise development. So you can see all these, they are volunteers, they are volunteering for Minders. But through this, I was able to get the experience as well as also be able to serve to the club. Yeah, so I joined as a member for education committee, where I'm currently the secretary. And in our team, we had Dr. Mary Ronge, who has been my mentor since I joined the IEEE Smart Village. So it was the IEEE Smart Village Africa Working Group was initiated by Engineer Abudu Ayu in 2020. Yeah, so since then, I've been engaged in IEEE Smart Village. And through IEEE Smart Village, that's when I saw the need that I should also be engaged in IEEE Power and Energy Society Young Professionals, because both of them, they are under Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. That's the IEEE. Yeah. So in 2022, I became the chapter representative for IEEE Power and Energy Society Professionals in Europe, Middle East, Africa region. And in 2023, I'm currently also the chapter representative. And this year I also joined the IEEE Power and Energy Society Professionals Industry Outreach and Entrepreneurship subcommittee. So yeah, that's what when you are servicing for your community, through that you will also get the experience and also networking and also develop your career. Yeah. So that's the part of the case study that I wanted to share. However, there was also a point that I wanted to highlight, that I talked about the mentorship and also skills, women also setting goals. So when you set your goals, first of all, you need to understand that those goals cannot be achieved by themselves. You need to work on them. So if you understand, if you know, you have the knowledge and the skills, you are good to go. If you don't have those, you are also good to go, but only if you take the training. You need to learn how to do it. So, for example, these are some of the programs that I attended since I graduated, since my graduation in 2019. So, from 2020 to 2023, I attended several programs, that's mentorship programs, trainings by IEEE Center for Leadership Excellence. And some of those courses, there are some of the courses that do with the energy. They are also to do with the leadership, like the recent one that I did in last year. And also, I also did the monitoring and evaluation coordinator. So you can be wondering that this is an engineering institution, why they have the person and those courses, they are all free. So why did they focus on monitoring and evaluation? So you can see it's a skill that needs to be learned because we are living in multidisciplinary world where we need to use several skills when dealing with the problem. And that monitoring and evaluation course that I did, it was on online, it enabled me to be elected by EI Regional Leadership Center to serve as the monitoring and evaluation coordinator for Malawi chapter. So you can see the skill that I get here, I'm not only using here, I've also been used it on other initiatives. So I also attended the entrepreneurship and business development program training under YARI Regional Leadership Center as well. And also I did the advanced training course and the technical training course. And you can see this one, it was a 6 months online training course. And to know this, it was the engineer Celine Zimba that I told you about. After joining the group, he shared me the core for the advanced training course. So of course, the core required somebody who is learning camera at that time. So I was just a fresh graduate trying to make a difference in my sector. So I sent my application, sharing my goals, what I want to do, and at the end of the day, I was considered, I was selected for the course training, which was focused much on opportunities and the opportunities and challenges in sustainable energy development. And also after that, I was introduced to technical training, which was done by Microgrid Academy. And last year, I did the SADC Renewable Energy Entrepreneurship Support Facility Training, which was organized by SACRE, that's SADC Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency. So this is where we learned more about how we can do or we can solve problems in society that requires energy solutions, especially clean energy solutions. And also did the energy project design and power quality and system stability training under Kafue Gorge, which is the one of the leading regional training center in Southern Africa. And through engagement with the IEEE Smart Village, I was inspired to pursue my master's degree, to apply for my master's degree, because I said I graduated in 2019, and by that time, after I'd make a decision, my dream was just to work on those and do my master's later on. But after working with a dynamic team, I was inspired to apply for the master. And on this application, it was the IEEE team that was supporting me with the references. So you can see you are volunteering, but also you are getting, or you are inspired, and you are also achieving your goals. So at the moment, I'm currently doing Masters in Sustainable Energy, which is offered under School of Engineering at Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences. Yes. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to share today, that crafting your skills is very important, especially in today's world, because the world is changing. So we see that we adapt or we come up with the solutions to mitigate those challenges. And we, the youth of today, we have the role to play in these matters because we have the energy. We have the energy. The only challenge is we need knowledge and wisdom to do it. So how can you get the wisdom? How to do it? So it's through mentorship, networking, and all the skills that I have presented. Yeah, so thank you very much for the attention, for listening to this webinar. If there are any question, free to ask. And there is my email address and also my LinkedIn link. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Desire, for this really great presentation. This is not only theoretical, at the same time sharing your experiences. Thank you for many times for this presentation. I think I saw no questions. We continue without a break. We are going to Mr. Preethy Warrior. She will be with her presentation, Wind Resource Assessment Fundamentals and Basis of Wind Farm Development.
Sorry, I guess I was on mute.
Yes, Mr. Preethy, sorry. Firstly, I want to present to you. 1 minute. I need to 1 minute. Yes. Hello, everybody. We are ongoing with Mr. Preethy Warrior. Is currently working as a wind and renewable energy analyst at SSE Renewables in Scotland. She is part of the onshore project development team for sites in Scotland, and her responsibility include wind data analysis, wind turbine layout designing and optimization, and estimating the possible production from wind farms, optimizing the solutions and risk assessment. Prior to SSE, she was working as an assistant lead engineer in the global setting team at Vestas. Chennai is supporting the wind and solar project across the Asia Pacific markets. She is at the same time postgraduate in power and energy engineering with experiences in wind farm modeling and design of utility scale and domestic solar photovoltaic systems. When we are looking at the IEEE missions, she is a senior member and impact creator at IEEE transmitter and member of the IEEE standards working group P2418.5 blockchain energy and other organization missions, member of the Institution of Engineering and Technology, treasurer of the IET Scotland Power Technical Network chapter. Welcome, Mr. Preethy, repeatedly, and stage in yours, waiting your great presentation.
Thank you so much, Cagnes. It's my pleasure and honor to be part of this regional summit. I've always been on the other side organizing events, but this is something new as a speaker with the same team. So thanks again for this opportunity. So hello, everyone. Today, I would be covering a key technical topic in wind energy, which is the wind resource assessment, the fundamentals and basis of wind farm development. A bit of my background. I started my career in the renewable energy sector in 2015 after completing my master's in power and energy engineering from Amrita University. That's around 8+ years in this field, specifically modeling wind and solar farms. Currently, I'm a renewable energy analyst working with SSE Renewables on the onshore wind farms in Scotland in their pre-construction phase. I mostly do the wind data analysis, designing the layout for turbines, calculating the energy that could be produced from the wind farms, and come up with optimized solutions. So today I'll be talking more on my day-to-day work as a siting engineer. It's a very vast topic, but I'll try to make it short and simple. Before diving into the main topic of wind resource assessment, I'll give a very brief introduction on wind energy generation and the different parts of a turbine. I'll touch upon what the wind resource assessment is, why is it so important, what are the steps involved in WRA. I'll also cover a few challenges that we come across in our work and its impact. And finally, how the wind market is going to expand in the next few or maybe many years. So you can see in the picture above a wind turbine connected to the power grid. This wind turbine converts the kinetic energy in wind to electricity using a rotor and generator. Rotor is nothing but the rotating part. The principle behind converting the kinetic energy is the aerodynamics. The blades are designed in the form of an aerofoil. So when the wind hits the blades at a certain angle, the fast moving air goes above the blade and the slow air goes below, causing a pressure difference. There are two forces created during this process, lift and drag, and this causes the blades to rotate and thereby producing electricity. This picture here shows the different parts of a turbine. Broadly, we could say the turbine has blades, a nacelle, tower, and foundation. Bottom, we have the foundation. On top of it rests the tower. And at the very top of the tower, we have the nacelle and blades. Inside the nacelle, we have the shafts, gearbox, and the generator, basically all the components. So as I said, when the wind hits the blades, they start rotating, but they'll be rotating very slowly. So in order to increase the rotational speed, it is connected to the low speed shaft, which is then connected to the gearbox, and this increases the speed and make it synchronous with the generator. The generator converts the mechanical energy into electricity. The output voltage of the wind turbine is generally around 690 volts. This is stepped up using a step up transformer and then transmitted to the grid. We also have a pitch system used to control the deflection of blades to capture maximum wind. There are yaw motors to help the turbine rotate into the direction of wind or away from it. Nacelle is the enclosed box that houses all of these components. There are other power electronic devices associated with the wind turbine for maintaining the power quality and grid stability. Wind turbines are normally installed at places where human habitation is less. This is because operating turbines produces large noise which can be strenuous to human ears. Be it snow, heavy rains, scorching sun, typhoons, earthquakes, or any other natural calamities, these massive structures can withstand any extreme climatic conditions. There are various types of wind farms like onshore, offshore, and intertidal. Onshore wind farms are generally constructed on land, mostly away from the human settlements and where there is high wind potential. Offshore wind farms are, on the other hand, constructed in water. As you can see from the picture here, they'll have specific foundations designed to withstand the waves and the buoyant forces. We have either the fixed bottom foundations or floating foundations. By intertidal, we mean the turbines will be installed in water like few kilometers from the coast and up to 10-meter water depth. It would still behave similar like the onshore turbines, but the major difference is in the foundation as it has to withstand the loose texture of soil and also impact of tides. Rest all components are similar to the onshore turbines. So I work mainly on onshore wind farms. As I said, I work for SSE Renewables and we are wind farm developers. But we cannot simply go and say, hey, we want to build a wind farm here. A lot of things have to be analyzed and taken care of, both technical as well as the legal part. So the one key area is identifying the potential of the site. It's called as wind resource assessment. By definition, wind resource assessment is the process by which the wind power developers estimate the future energy production of a wind farm. It's the fundamental step in building a wind farm. So we need to understand if there is enough wind potential there and whether the wind farm would produce enough energy out of it. Otherwise, the project would be just a waste of money. So, wind resource assessment, or in general, siting, is the basis for determining the initial feasibility of a wind project and its cash flow. Wind farms are really very costly. You need to know whether it makes sense to invest so much of money in an area. For that, you need to understand from which direction the wind is blowing and also the site climatic conditions. So by climatic conditions, I mean the wind speed, the turbulence or the disturbances in the air, and shear. Shear is nothing but a variation of wind speed across the heights. So, as said, when we go from the ground to the top, the wind speed increases. So, you have a higher wind speed at higher heights. So, these parameters are used to calculate the energy potential and site suitability. Suitability is checking if a particular turbine model is suitable for that site or not. Each turbine is designed to operate in certain climatic conditions. If you place a different class of turbine at the site, there are high chances that the turbine would fail in its operation. Selection of a turbine model should be proper, that the turbines we are proposing should be able to withstand these conditions and that too for the entire design lifetime. which could be 25 years or 30 or even more. But why is sighting so important? So here you can see some pictures showing the various failures. Sometimes the blade gets broken, or the nacelle may catch fire, or the failure can happen to the structural components itself, like the tower and foundation. If we don't analyze a site properly, we may be choosing a wrong turbine, which will result in energy loss, or it could lead to a turbine failure. If we don't assess the site climatic conditions properly, we may be wrongly estimating the wind speed or the turbulence or any other parameters, and this can lead to the turbine failure. So, modeling a wind farm, it's not a straightforward process. There are different steps involved. This flowchart here shows a very high level process of wind farm development. There are tons and tons of things happening in between, like beyond or before all of these things. But this is just a very high level process for a very quick understanding. So, first, we need to identify a potential site. This can be done using online sources. We have a lot of wind maps available, or if you have experience working in those areas, you'll have a better understanding of how the wind conditions are. So, once we have identified the site, we need to know the exact wind conditions there. The online maps are all model sources, so it may not be accurate, but we need to know the exact wind speed or how the climatic conditions are. For that, we set up a measurement campaign to collect the data. It is usually done by installing a meteorological mast or a remote sensing device. After collecting the data, we use this data to do the further analysis and optimizations to arrive at a good business case. The contract is signed between the developers and the turbine suppliers. And once everything is sorted, the wind farm construction starts. And after completion, it goes for commissioning. It will then be in the operational phase. So this picture here towards the left shows a metmast structure. It's similar to a pole, a steel structure. Metmasts are usually installed in the area where we intend to develop a wind farm. It consists of several sensors at multiple heights, like anemometers to measure the wind speed, wind vanes to record the wind direction, and other sensors to collect temperature, pressure, and relative humidity. Certain metmas also have pyranometers to collect the solar irradiance. Recently, we are observing that the remote sensing equipments are being used very commonly for the same purpose. You know how the size of the turbines are increasing. They are really massive and tall now. So ideally, the measurement height should be the same height as the height of the turbine. But since the turbine sizes are growing, it may not be possible to have a mast as tall as the turbine. There are structural and other challenges involved in it. In such cases, remote sensing devices are of great importance, like the LiDAR and SODAR. They work on Doppler effect. RSDs or remote sensing devices are capable of measuring wind conditions up to 200 meters or even up to 300 meters. So we install either metmast or RSDs at site to collect the data. Data is recorded in 10-minute interval for at least 1 year. And as sighting engineers, why we recommend 1 year is because in this 1 year, all the seasonal variations will be captured. This will give better accuracy to our predictions. When we have 1 full year of measurements, we start the analysis. We need to check if the quality of the data is good and do a thorough cleaning and remove any erroneous values that may occur. As I said, ideally the measurement height should be the same as the hub height, which is the desired height of the turbine. But the turbines are evolving so quickly that higher and higher heights are being developed. It's not exactly possible to have a mast as tall as it always, but if we have, it's well and good. If we don't have, we can always go for RSDs. But if we don't have RSDs also, we may have to vertically extrapolate the mast measurements from the measurement height to the hub height. And this process is called as shearing. Wind shear plays a very important role in fixing the hub height. Sometimes even this 1 year of measurements is not enough to understand completely how the wind behaves at that particular area, because the wind is highly variable. If you receive 8 meter per second wind speed this year, it doesn't mean that the wind speed next year or the coming years would be the same. It could be less or even more. So this 1 year of measurement needs to be corrected to a long-term value, and that can be considered as a more representative value. There are online data sets, modeled ones, and we also have machine learning algorithms to carry out this process. And this long-term data is used to calculate the site climatic conditions. With this data, we'll also know where there is more wind potential. Based on that, we could select the turbine locations and proper turbine model based on the IEC standards. The energy produced by a turbine depends on its power curve, which is the most important characteristics of a turbine. Power curve is nothing but the relationship between power and wind speed. It shows what amount of power will be produced for a particular wind speed. It will be different for different turbines. A typical power curve looks like this. It has three regions: cut in, rated, and cut out. The turbines start generating power only when the cut in wind speed is attained. After that, the increase is exponential to the power of 3 till the rated wind speed. Rated wind speed is when the turbine is in full power mode operation. Beyond the rated wind speed, how much ever the wind speed is increased, output power would still be the maximum turbine rating. And turbines cannot operate continuously at higher wind speeds. There is a maximum limit to it. This is known as the cutout wind speed or the cutoff wind speed. Beyond this, the turbine will not operate. This is mainly to safeguard the turbines. The power produced by a wind turbine is calculated based on the formula P is equal to half rho A V cube into Cp, where rho is the air density, A is the rotor swept area, V is the average wind speed, and Cp is the performance coefficient. There's another important phenomenon to be taken into consideration while doing the modeling. It is the wake effect. This is a very famous picture that depicts wake. When the wind hits the turbines, its speed reduces and there will be a disturbance created at the downside of the turbines. What you see at the back of these turbines is the wake. And this wake propagates for some distance and then die out, and the wind speed starts increasing again. So downside of the turbines, the turbulence will be more. So if you place a turbine right behind the other one, the turbine at the back will experience a higher wake and a reduced wind speed. As sighting engineers, we try to avoid this wake effect as much as possible. It is not possible to nullify this, but always keep it to a minimum level. And the turbines should never be placed back to back. This not only increases the wake effect, but at the same time, the turbine at the back will experience more loading effects due to the high turbulence in air, which is not good for it. So, a point to note here is that we have collected the measurements like the wind speed, wind direction, all those parameters, basically the climatic conditions, only at the mast locations, whereas the turbine positions will be different. It will be spreaded across an area. So what we need to do is horizontally extrapolate these climatic conditions from the met mast to the turbine locations and then calculate the energy at the turbine positions. We have dedicated softwares to do the entire modeling, starting from the data analysis to the energy calculation and further optimizations like WindPro, WASP, Wind Farmer Analyst, and OpenWind. As I said, it's not a straight process. We sometimes have to go back and modify certain things like the layout to optimize the results. And there will be noise restrictions in certain areas. As said before, turbines while operating produces noise. And in some locations, the law might say that they cannot be more than a certain limit. There are different loads acting on the turbine parts and they have to be analyzed very thoroughly. And if we find out that in our analysis, any exceedances might occur that could potentially damage the turbine, we need to set some operational strategies. And this will be fed to the turbine controller. We also need to analyze the shadow effects from the blades while rotating because if the turbines are closer to the human settlements, this can also be an issue. Apart from this, we also need to take into account the different losses that might occur, like the turbine power curve that we saw. It's a theoretical power curve. Practically, it may not behave in that fashion, which can lead to a reduction in production. There might be grid outages, or the turbines may have to be shut down for maintenance. It might be a scheduled maintenance or unscheduled. All of these things lead to a loss in energy produced. Apart from the losses, there are uncertainties at each stage of wind farm modeling, like uncertainty in measurements. For example, the sensors may not be of good quality, the data collected may not be of good quality, and there is also uncertainty associated with the quality check for the different long term correction processes or the different long term data sets that we use. There's uncertainty at each stage. And even in the modeling approach, for example, from the metmast to the turbine positions, when you do the horizontal extrapolation, there is always an uncertainty involved. So all of these things have to be taken into account. And what we get at the end of all these calculations is the final probable energy that the wind farm could produce. With the opportunities come challenges, and vice versa. Sometimes the quality of the data is so bad that it will be hard to accurately predict the conditions of the site. Here I have shown a sample data set where the anemometer is continuously failing and no proper measurements are being recorded. In this case, we are actually losing the data, and the impact of data loss is huge. We may have to do extra checks and arrive at a probable conclusion. And in such cases, the uncertainty will be really high. In cold countries where there is snow, the meteorological towers may get covered with ice. The sensors also may get covered with snow, and they stop measuring. It is recommended to use heated sensors at such locations, but if you don't have such sensors, there is a possibility of data loss again, which can be a huge negative impact. And since we are doing all the modeling works using a software, there are limitations involved. Analyzing a simple flat site is easy. There is less uncertainty. But if the site is highly complex or forested, there might be some limitations to the modeling setup because we know it's all software. It works in a certain predefined fashion. There are nonlinear modeling approaches like the CFD, computational fluid dynamics, which could be used in certain cases, but sometimes there will be a limitation to that also. And we may have to make a lot of engineering judgments in such scenarios. So, if you are highly experienced in resource assessment or analyzing conditions, this decision making process will be easier and it doesn't take much time. And fixing a turbine location in those complex areas can also be tricky. We cannot propose a turbine position in a valley or near to steep slopes. This can be dangerous. Sometimes transporting the turbine components to those such areas and also construction can be a challenge in such scenario. Land availability plays a big role in deciding the turbine positions. There can be constraints in an area that may include distance from the nearest town. There could be wildlife sanctuaries or natural animal habitats. There may be rivers or water bodies or even transmission lines that are passing by. We need to maintain a minimum distance from these things. In Scotland, land and visual impact is a serious challenge. The environmental study has to be conducted beforehand to see if those locations pose a visual impact to the local community or not. If it's an issue, then we cannot propose that location. We also need to understand if the proposed wind farm area falls under the migration path of birds. So, layout optimization is a key step in WRA. Optimization should also be taken into account based on how the transmission line goes from the turbine to the substation. You put a turbine here and the nearest turbine about 7 or 8 kilometers away, this will not be a good layout. The balance of plant cost should be minimum. Grid has always been a concern. The existing grid infrastructure is not able to withstand the sudden increase in renewable penetration. It cannot happen overnight. We need to assess the grid conditions and see if the full power from our wind farms can be exported. If not, we may have to curtail or stop the turbine operations, and this will lead to production loss. Common scenario seen is we sometimes overplant. That is, we have an installed capacity slightly more than the grid export limit. Because the wind farms don't operate generally in full capacity all of the time, So the underperformances are compensated by this additional capacity that is added. But this is a challenge. We need to know how much overplanting can make a good business case. There is also an opportunity here when we have more power generated than the export limit. Because the project business case could be improved by coupling with the energy storage devices like battery or hydrogen. But this involves a substantial amount of analysis of the hourly generation pattern, which can be a bit tricky. We need to know how the market type is and how it performs. So, regarding the future of wind energy, it is expected that the onshore wind capacities will be added at a faster pace for countries that have better policy frameworks for the long term revenue and policies that address the permitting challenges and the plans for timely grid expansion. So, compared to the 2030 global outlook released by the Global Wind Energy Council last year, the GWEC Market Intelligence has increased its forecast for the total wind power capacity additions by 143 gigawatt. That's 13% year on year. So the future is looking really positive for not just wind, but in general for the renewable market. So that's it from me. Thank you for listening. I know it's a lot of the information in this very short time, but I hope I have managed to cover what the wind resource assessment is, what are the basic steps involved, and the challenges that we face, and trying to understand more of the opportunities rather than the challenges. So thank you once again, and thanks for this opportunity. If you have any queries or questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Preethy. When I looked the chat box, I saw no questions. Really very intensively presentation about this topic. One day, if I have a question about this topic, I will call you.
Sure, definitely.
You know everything for this issue. Repeat the thank you for this presentation. And everybody, we completed today's presentation. Repeat the thank you for Mr. Aymen, Tmar, Mr. Desire Mussa, and Ms. Preethy, Warrior. Tomorrow we continue with the really great presentations. Our president, Mr. Albin Paus, with great presentation. After we are with one of the most important people of IEEE, Tiago Roberto de Alensar's presentation, and lastly the Mira Daher's present with ours. Our program has been completed today. See you tomorrow. Thank you for attending. Thank you for everything. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.